ourselves to chase this financial dream that our house has to be big, our car has to be good, our children have to be good, and all of that. We just get caught up in this rat race of trying to make so much money that when is it ever enough? But we could truly I tell people all the time, we don't have to live in London. We don't have to live here. We could live anywhere else.
Friends are here.
And have a. But you can have. There's FaceTime. There's technology. We can go anywhere and just have a cheaper cost of living.
She makes good jello fries.
Okay. Let's get away from them.
No, they have plantain. They have plantain in the woods.
Whoa, stop right there. Before you go any further, have you even subscribed? Did you know that only 25% of people that watch our videos are actually subscribed? So, subscribe right now.
Hey, welcome to the Goodman Factory podcast. Today, we have Goodman Mike, Goodman Ade, and Goodman T, and your host, Goodman Brian. We are talking about one of the most sensitive subjects in the world today, money. Money. Everybody needs it. Everybody's trying to get it. Everybody wants it. But nobody wants to talk about it, or sometimes anyway, in this country. Well, so we're in the UK, and money is one of the, I would say in the UK specifically, money is a very, very sensitive subject. You don't want to know people's salary, or you're afraid to ask. People don't generally talk about money. So we're going to talk about it today from men's perspective, of course, young men. So why is money a real sensitive subject with everybody? Why would you say?
Niggas are broke.
It goes from silence to niggas are broke.
I'm playing. I just think we've been raised and conditioned to sort of not really be able to speak and be outspoken about our financial situation. It's always been something that you have to sort of keep private. You have to have a little humility if you've got loads of money. And if you haven't got loads of money, you can't look like you don't have loads of money. So it's just an odd one. Somewhere. Yeah,
I think one of the many reasons why is I think employers as well, when they pay you a certain salary for someone in the same position as you, they don't want you sharing that information with someone else.
Competitive.
Because Greg is now going to come over and be like, hey, big man, why is Mike getting paid more than me? Michael does less work. We're in the same position. I'm no waste man. Are you going to pay me more? And it just causes all this nonsense in the workplace. But I think that's one of the many reasons why they don't like you sharing your salary, for example. But like you said, I think we've been conditioned by many different, as either whether it's upbringing or like environment or culture. It's just don't show off if you've got too much of it, but also if you're broke, act like you've got enough to survive.
So based on what you guys just said, it's basically about how you make other people feel. So if I said, oh, how much you make this year so far? How much you make this year? We'd all be very uncomfortable to say, because again, you might not want to make someone else who made less feel less than, or you might don't want to seem like you're boasting. So it seems like it's like an interpersonal thing. Like, right, I don't want to make anybody else feel uncomfortable or make you feel like you're worth more, even though like we're doing the same job or whatnot.
It's also about protecting yourself as well. If I was to say on camera, oh, I made this amount, people are watching, people are listening, family as well. It's like,
send money back home.
You know what I mean? It's like, ooh. Yeah. So you also want to protect yourself from I guess other people and opinions and people just asking for handouts and all of that. Not to say, we don't help, but if everybody knows everything, it just makes it a little bit more difficult to navigate. Like Christmas is coming. If I'm like, oh, I don't have money, but then I tell somebody, oh, this is what I made this year, and that person that I told that I don't have money over his, I have to now, to dip into the pocket.
But also sometimes money isn't like saying, oh, how much you made isn't necessarily just about money. You could be wearing Gucci and Versace right now, but then that signals to me, obviously status clothes, innit? That signals to me how much money you might have. Do you know what I mean?
Extension of yourself in a sense, I feel. Because if you have, I've got guys that play football, friends that play football, and some of them are very calm, you know what I mean? Very, I don't want to show off. But some guys, the way they extend that extension of themselves with the money that they spend, we're not in the same league. Yeah. No pun intended. But I feel like it's an extension of how some people feel, or I want to show you what I can really do because of this money. Maybe outside of what I can physically do, if that makes sense. I can't explain it, but it's an extension of what some people want to do or want to show other people. It's definitely about not themselves either. It's about what everyone else sees,
thinks of them,
and what they think of, what they think of me, for example.
What I'm hearing is status anxiety.
Maybe.
So we all have our own different status, and your money adds to how anxious you feel. How anxious you feel based on how people view your status, whether that's a high status or low status based on how much money you have. And status anxiety is there's a book out on there. I can't remember who wrote it. But if I can remember, we can add the link somewhere. And it's this idea that we're socialized to accept certain states as safe, but no state as a human being is 100% safe. So you're always anxious about where you fit within your internal circle, where you fit within the nation, where you fit globally, and you're always worrying, am I too far up to be seen as a normal person? Am I too far below to get a certain level of respect that I would like to have? And there's like an anxiety, and whilst you're transitioning between different states.
I want to talk on that.
Yeah.
So you see your football mates.
Yeah.
Do some of them hang around with people that aren't footballers a lot and maybe don't have as much money? And maybe like if they're going out, like, oh, because we know he's making bare money. Does he always get the drink? Does he always get the food? Does he always pay for it? And some people might be feeling a bit away, like, oh, you know, I ain't got as much money as him type of thing. I can't really hang out with him because he's driving a G-Wagon. I'm driving a Punto or whatever you might be driving, innit? Do you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with either cars. It's all cars getting you from A to B or scooter. Do you know what I mean? But again, the status anxiety, you might not feel too comfortable around. If you're not comfortable with where you are or where you're trying to go, you might not feel too comfortable hanging around with other people that might have more money or more jewels or better clothes or whatever it is that.
Yeah, there is a sense of that, definitely, because you could see it from both sides. But my personal friends that play football, they're just calm. We don't expect them to pay for everything either, because we're family, we're all friends. But I also feel like, for example, some of the other ones that I'm not as close with, when they go out with their footballing friends. That footballing culture or family or that money culture, their man spend. And when I say spend, they spend money that I've never even seen sometimes. And I think, fam, on drink. Oh, come on, man. But there's a level of, what did you call it?
Status anxiety.
Yeah, I think there is a level of status anxiety. But when you're with almost like your safe space with your people and your family that don't play football. I don't play football professionally. So when they're around us, there's no pressure to do anything. So, and they're not expected to show their money or, you know what I mean? Oh, we're going to this place. Can you help us pay? Or can you buy a table for us? It's not like that kind of thing. It was just, everyone is quite calm. So I feel like that's almost like their only time they don't have to show everyone up, if that makes sense. But when you're with your kind or people in the same, let's say, tax bracket, if they're spending 100 bags, then I don't want to spend my 100 bags. I'm going to spend my 100 bags just today because I'm with the 100 bag crew. It's annoying, to be fair. I don't know what I'm spending 100 bags for.
I won't do it.
The people think I'm weird. I'm the same. I don't do it. I can't. What?
But
so do you feel like you have to
impress?
I can see it cooking.
So,
but to be honest, to add on to that, I feel like the footballer example is a good one. But even it's just normal, I would say the quote unquote normal level. Let's say.
Just having friends.
It comes up. It's a weird thing. Like I got an okay car. Like it's not something that I look at as anything. For me, it was just like I need to get around. I live in the sticks, and I want something that's like fairly okay. And I remember one of my he's literally a second cousin to me.
Yeah.
Like a close person in my circle. So I was like, oh yeah, what happened? Oh, I told him I got a new job. Oh, that's why you have this car in it. Oh yeah. And I'm looking and it's like,
you're trying to count the pockets and work it out.
Like this has nothing to do at all. Like I wanted to get this because I literally live. It would take me an hour to get to the closest train station sometimes. Oh, wow. So I have to have this, but because of that kind of like. Different people are assessing their status at different.
The forest, bro, not the sticks.
It's literally just farmland. Just farmland behind my house. But it's like people are always like adjusting and checking, doing these checks and balances with you, with what they see.
They look you up and down.
Again, with the idea of like, if you say how much you earn on like a platform like this, someone's gonna hear that and be thinking, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. I saw this, I saw that." Yeah, they'll connect dots that don't even exist, and it can create like a tension. So I think that adds to why. in the UK, there's a kind of like a resistance to talk about money so much. I also think though, most of us just don't know what we're talking about. So when it comes to like, oh yeah, I earned it, like you don't know. A lot of people don't know what tax bracket they're in until someone sits them down and be like, this is why. Some people don't know like how you're going to be taxed like this, and tax is something that affects everyone. That's why I'm using that. You're going to be taxed like this, but this is how it actually breaks down. We don't know that, let alone what we can invest in, what our money is really worth, what inflation means. So one person has a certain amount in one country, another person has another amount in another country.
They don't want you to know.
It means completely different things, really, in actual terms.
Yeah.
But we don't know that. Like, I've only 2 weeks ago, I learned what inflation was and how it really affects your pocket. But before that, 20 plus years, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's mad.
All right, so coming off that, being good with money and being bad with money, like would you say to yourself personally like you're good with money or bad with money, or have you been bad and you've gotten better? And like, what was the turning point? Like, so for instance, for me, turning point was 4 years ago when I was having my son. I didn't care. I was one of those people that used to walk around, oh no, I don't care about money, man. Very stupid. But because nobody ever made money important to me, my mum never made like, yo, get your money. I saw a meme the other day that was saying, right, if I knew how to get money like this, I would have started working from 4. And it's true, because you grow up and it's like money, pay this, pay. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, whoa, no one ever said this to you, and then you're struggling, doing 5 jobs, doing all of this because you need money, but no one ever told you how to do it.
It's mad.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like back to what I was saying. I was my son was being born, and I just had the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I bought it like a couple months. I never picked it up, and I thought, you know what, it might be the perfect time to pick it up since I'm going to become a dad. Do you know what I mean? In the week that I was staying in the hospital, I finished the book, and then that's for me when I started like taking money seriously and saying, yo, money's a real serious thing. You know, like you have to start understanding it, not just like, oh, get a job and go spend it, because even saving, that's what it's usually get the money, spend it. Something that is in between, there's save, there's invest. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's all kinds of things, but usually it's get money, spend it. So what in terms of like money with you guys, like what would you say? You good with money, bad with money? Or when was the thing where he's like, nah, I need to get better with this thing, you know, because this thing is just finishing my life?
I would say I was bad and got quite good at it in terms of managing and putting my money in the right places. So the same book, there was a turning point similar to you actually. I was having my son. He's 7 now, so a good 7 years ago. But it was slightly before that where I also had the same like attitude, like it's money in it. Like my mum always says, when you make money, save it. But there was no save it and then. And never there was beyond reason. That point. There was nothing basically. So I didn't understand it. So it became get that money, save it, and then maybe spend a little bit. But long story short, I tried to get a car, like in my probably my early to mid 20s, and then it just spiraled out of control because the insurance was too high, my salary wasn't enough at the time, so on and so forth, and then you get yourself into debt, and then literally I educated myself. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I just also just researched about money and also literally Google how do rich people get rich. I literally typed that into Google. And it's weird because there's like a list of answers. Like they don't do what I do basically, or what the normal 20% tax bracket person does, which is just you get money from through PayYE and you pay your tax and then you pay your bills. You do that to your 60 something and you die. They don't do what we do basically. Some of them invest and all the rest of it. But I would say even now, I get into things like buying shares and also shares that pay dividends and all the rest of it. Like little bits. So you don't have to put 10 bags or 100,000. Like no one realistically has that cash in my circle anyway. So I just thought, you know what? Let me just start off small and put money here, clear debts and all the rest of it. And when you start doing it really slowly, you don't realize it actually adds up. You get to a certain position or certain like space in a sense. And I realized that, all right, I'm doing okay. I'm not doing too bad. Obviously, you still get paid your salary, and I still want to be self-employed. But yeah, I got way better. But at one point, it was really bad, and I think that as well. I feel like, I'm talking from a male's point of view, but I feel like if I spoke about this when I was younger with other men, that could have been in my position, or I could have helped it could have helped me basically, and I just felt like I should have just literally spoke to someone and they would have just, they didn't even have to educate me like that, but just be like, bro, if you can't pay your debts in one go, and if you're not saving your money, just do this, and do this. It's simple steps. And then you just work your way up, basically. It's not as simple as I made it sound, just as a disclaimer. But literally, it was...
Maybe it is.
I feel like
there's prep work.
Yeah.
I said what I've said. No, there's a book called The Psychology of Money that I read, and it just says the key is patience. But because we all want to be richer, or we're all in a rush, and we all want to make a certain amount of money, when we're looking at how other people got wealthy, we're ignoring the ones that were just patient. Like everyone will look at, what's his name, Warren Buffett, yeah. So they will look at him. I was going to say Buffet, but you know, everyone will look at him and be like, "Oh, how did he get this?" And they were like, "He made the majority of his wealth in his 60." Which is, and the book says the key is patience. There was an example it gave of some caretaker who, when he died, left behind millions, and everyone was like, "Wait, he was a caretaker. How did he do it?" And his goal was patience, and he wanted to just leave money to a charity and to his family, and that's what he did. And I think it is that simple. We just don't want to do. We just don't want to do what's simple. We're in a rush. We want to live and make as much money as we can now,
the next year,
especially with stuff and more opportunities. How many times have you seen that? Was that this person just flipped? How much on crypto? I'm trying to tell me I just got to save, and when I'm 60, I could make 10 million, or I could make 10 million now by just trying to jump on whatever without, with a lack of knowledge, and that's how most people get stung
With crypto, especially.
With everything. It's not just you get friends that were just 10, 20 years ago. Hey, I got an opportunity. All right.
But they always come up to you like that as well, innit?
All I need is 10K.
Yeah.
What? Oh, you need?
Yeah. 10K.
That's one thing I've noticed. So the patience thing is the hardest part of everything.
Yeah.
Even in the gym, like you can go in the gym, you can pick up a challenging weight and you can lift it. It's the patience to do it again and again and again whilst you're not feeling or seeing the result. That's the hard bit. The doing it, so like you can get paid, move money into your savings, and not touch it. You can do that action
for 5 years, bro.
On that day, you can move it, and then the patience to sit there and watch it. And it's like, it's still. I moved £500. It's still only £500 in there. 30 days,
damn it!
Innit? 5 days pass, a week passes, 2 weeks pass. It's still only £500 in there. You have to wait till the next month to make it £1,000. That waiting bit is the hard bit. And I think if people, like you said, if people understand that waiting bit, that's the value. Like in the long term, the value will accrue. And part of that value is the discipline that you're adding to the physical thing you're doing as well. And then you will get the returns from that. But it's that, like, I don't feel like we value that patience anymore, or as much as we could. And that's what makes these steps feel like they're not easy. Because you can do the physical thing, like you can make the transfer, but it's that we don't value the patience as much. So it's like, waiting is really hard. That makes the transferring really hard now.
Yeah,
delayed gratification, innit? What people say, like, I'll never wait.
When my dad broke that down to me, and I was very angry because I wanted money now. I'll tell the truth. I wanted money now, and he was like, "To be honest, you have everything you need. The one thing you don't have is patience." But you have everything you need. You have a talent. You have people who your friends who will support you. You have different platforms you can use. You don't have patience to do something, fail it, and keep going. Just it's like holding your breath. But you know you can breathe at any moment, so don't stress. But you don't want to hold your breath. You want to do all the breathing right now. You'll hyperventilate. You pass out, bro. Like, calm down.
I like that. I like that. That's what they're still.
But for me, am I good with money? I feel like I'm where you guys were at the beginning of the stories you've just told. And I've recently started to like pick up the books and be like, okay, cool. These are steps. I'll tell one story I always tell when people ask me about money is first year uni. There was a point where, and I wasn't like I don't come from a rich background or anything like that. This was just how I was handling my money. There was a point where I didn't want to do laundry, so I just kept buying new clothes for the whole year.
My God.
Like, it got to some point where I was just like, yeah, like I didn't want to do. And the thing is, I finished uni and I did the maths. And I was like, that's when I really that was a ridiculous.
So you just had a pile of dirty clothes in your room, the tower of clothes.
And my thing is like, I would every time I'm going home to visit, I'll take the clothes home and like the ones that I knew I was never gonna wear again, we'll wash. We'll send it to Nigeria. But for me, it was a thing. There was a point where I had like 300 black t-shirts.
Jesus.
Like it was ridiculous.
Some Dr. Dre, bruv.
And my thing,
Fat Joe.
like when I think about why, because obviously you assess yourself. When I think about why I was behaving like that at that time, I just finished a very difficult part of life where we went from being fairly comfortable, like a normal level of comfort, I would say, to what felt like abject poverty, to then coming up to like, oh, we're our heads are just above comfortable. And in my head, it was a thing of, I'm doing whatever I want for now. I don't know where this is gonna go. I've been here before, and it all went to hell. So I'm doing whatever I want. What that taught me though is like there's a responsibility in not overdoing. Like you can have as much as you want, and if you don't manage it well enough, you won't have anything after a while. Like you can be in a place where you can just keep buying new clothes. Yeah. You can be in that place, but if that's the action that you choose to fund with that money, the money will go away. It's as simple as that. If you're not responsible with it, it's not gonna sit and wait for you to be responsible. But yeah, that was like first year uni, and then second year uni, and my mum had this thing of like, you're at uni to study, you're not allowed to work. So with like I went to uni as an international student, so there was a lot of like. There was like a whirlpool of like finances that I could dip into and dip out of, and no one would really notice.
I had the overseas account, you know. I had a Swedish account.
Not like that.
I wasn't born wealthy, but
not like that. But like there was like things had to be paid for, and money was sent at different. So I could this is for this part of the tuition. I could take that, do this. I'll get a job. No one needs to know I'm working. I'll put that back. And you can do that. So none of the money is really mine. Even the money I'm working for is technically not mine once I've taken it from somewhere else anyway. But because of that sphere, it's like, you're not realizing how irresponsible you are, because there's kind of a framework that allows you to keep getting away with it and getting away with it. And then that finishes. Uni's done now. There isn't something that's being paid for that can cover up your flaws. Now it is your money that you're messing up with, and you look in the mirror and be like,
safety net.
I got paid. There was a point where like I'll get paid on Friday, by Monday 2/3 is gone, and it was like every single month for like a year.
You're lucky, bro.
By Monday, I was like, what? And I wasn't paying bills like that.
Oh jeez, okay.
So when I started paying bills, that's when I was like, I can't. I have nothing left. Like I have nothing.
Nothing.
Where's Phil? Because I have nothing left. That's what I'm gonna say. But again, for me, it was a thing of like, so going through those experiences, and I think there's a kind of like a youthful exuberance as well of like, I'm young, I'm gonna live forever.
You think you're just young forever? You think this £6,000 you're getting or whatever is gonna come forever?
And bam,
life punches you in the jaw.
Like you'll do something, you'll make something, you'll create something, it'll go well, or like you and your friends will do something, and there's money that comes in from it, and you're like, like I'm on top of the world. But you're not, like you're on top of this world, and there's so many more worlds that you don't have the finances to access, and you don't even realize it.
That's the maddest thing.
But yeah, so now I'm like going through that. I'm getting to a point where you take a step back and you look into things, and things like, how are rich people rich? Like, what are they doing that doesn't just fall into like the normal framework of a normal day-to-day person that you can access as a normal day-to-day person? Not like the huge. You can work up to the bigger things. But the things that you can access now, like the different ways to invest, like the I think it's called like the SPF 500s and the RITs and like there's a bunch of little things that you can dip your toe in, gain some profit off, go a bit bigger, build a safe framework, be patient. And now I'm in that place of like, okay, cool, let's dip. I'm dipping my toe in now, and hopefully I keep my toes. And then we can see where we go. But yeah, as far as responsible, well, now I'll get paid on Friday, and by Monday I still have 2/3.
That's good. Yeah, Lance. That's good.
I like to hear, bro. We love to hear it.
But that's true what you said about like if you Google like what the rich people do, most of the stuff you can't do it. Most of the stuff you can't do it.
Not like buy a yacht. Like I mean, Like, what do they do that I'm not doing, basically?
Yeah.
So they don't just necessarily go, oh, I want that car, for example. Well, there's an example in Rich Dad Poor Dad, but it's, I want this car. Am I going to use my salary?
Finance it,
Because remember, most cars are, what's it called, liabilities. They're going to cost you money. They rarely make you money. Am I going to use my hard-earned cash or savings or whatever it is, to put into that car? Or can I use any of my assets to pay for that and almost have it on a conveyor belt where all my assets pay for my liabilities?
But then if you don't see life as like an asset type of thing, which if you haven't for the last 25 years, it's very hard to come to terms with like an asset and figure out what an asset is. I'll tell you, asset is a house, but that's not available to me right now because I can't really buy a house and blah, blah, blah. And what's another asset I can buy? You can make a product that's an asset. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you have to really, like, Professor X, like, asset, like, you know, because again, you've been doing getting money, which probably be a small amount of money, like working in retail or whatever it is you're doing.
Remind me.
Whatever it is you're doing, to just spending it and paying bills. Some people are like, as long as I pay my bills. But life can't just be as long as I pay my bills, man. Do you know what I mean? So you got to like, I don't want to say the word like that word mindset. But that's what they all say, like, oh, your mindset. I read this real good book about The Millionaire Mindset by T. Harv Eker or something like that. Really, really good book. And it's not necessarily about, oh, this is how you become a millionaire. It's literally how you think about money. Because he said, like, look, again, if you get money, you spend it on clothes. That's what, you know, as soon as I get this money, I'm going to spend it on these clothes. As soon as I get this money, I'm going to spend it on these clothes. Some people, as soon as I get this money, I'm going to put it in my business. As soon as I get this money, I'm going to put it in some crypto or invest it in some S&P 500. If I get this money, I'm going to save it because I want to save for a house or a car or a business or whatever it is I'm doing, right? I want to travel the world. So it's like whatever you get goes through your brain, just whatever you do with it. Do you know what I mean? And that's just like anything. Like, the book says you have a blueprint. And really the blueprint is for like anything. Like some people in relationships, they get a girl or they get a guy and they start fighting with them because something in their brain tells them this is how you communicate. Do you know what I mean? And the same thing with money. Something in your brain tells you this is what you use money for. And until you rewrite your blueprint, every time you press the button or get that thing or get a thing, it goes through that same thing, that same system in your brain, and you come up with the same outcome. So you need to change what happens in here. And it was saying that you get programmed 3 different ways. I can only remember 2. It was saying that what you hear from your parents. So he had a story of his wife. And he said his wife, from her childhood, every time she would go and ask her, Mom, can I get some ice cream? I'm going to get some money to get some ice cream. She would say, go and ask your dad. Mom, can I get this? Go and ask your dad. So when she became an adult, what do you think happened? Every time she wanted money, she needed to go and ask a man for it. Her husband, her boyfriend, her dad. She never thought women should have money. So she never had money because it was go and ask your dad. And the guy who wrote the book, T. Harv Eker, he said, so the second one is like what you see. So how your parents treat money. So what they say, what you see. And he said his dad was like he builds houses, but like big projects. Like he would do like a block of flats. So he would have no money because he would invest it all in the building of the flats, getting it all done, however much it was, 2 million or whatever, let's just say. And then, so he has no money for a long time because he needs to sell the flats. And after they sold the flats, they're up. They're millionaires, they're rich. And then he get all the money again, put it back into buying more flats and building them up to the skin again. So he's got the up, down. So he was broke, poor. So he saw that. So in his mind, sometimes you're going to be broke for long, and then sometimes you're going to have money, and then sometimes you're going to be down, rather than just like always having money. Awesome. So he was programmed by what he heard and what he saw. So when he grew up, that's how he treated money. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, even my own dad, after reading the book, I was like, what kind of stuff did I hear or see? I heard my dad saying he was skint a lot. No, I can't. I'm skint. And even till now, I hear my dad saying, no, every time I get money, I have to use it, otherwise it's going to go. And my dad never has money because every time he literally has money, something in his brain tells him that he has to spend it or give it away. He never has money. And it's like, you have to be careful about, and I was like, this is like a couple pages into the book. I'm like, rah. And then he's got like 17 rules about how you think about money. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, wow, you really have to understand what is going on here, because it's like subconscious that you don't even know that you're reacting to money or things like that. And again, the blueprint doesn't have to be money. It could be literally anything. Do you know what I mean? Like education and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, rah, this is mad.
It's deep still.
It's mad. Like,
that's a real, because for myself, that I can definitely, you saying that, I'm thinking about myself and I'm thinking like, rah, that's like, I definitely remember I had this thing of like, oh, money is called currency because it flows.
I like that.
Money is called currency because it flows. So let me it's not. It's gonna flow to me. It's gonna flow away from me. Let me not watch it too tough.
Like
but the reason I'm thinking the reason I had that is probably because I had no control over whether we're gonna have money or not. So I had to adopt that view, otherwise I'm gonna lose it. But so it was a thing of like, okay, cool. If I'm in a place where it seems like in the family we're not able to control the flow of money, the easiest way is to adopt that view of like, oh, money is uncontrollable.
It's gonna go.
And I think, that's very interesting. I guess that feeds into like early ways of how I'm spending money, and then a change of mindset of what happens if money can be controlled. What happens if money is not a river? What happens if it's a tree and you can plant and grow it in some type of way? What happens if you view it in those different ways and kind of change the blueprint, like you're saying, for yourself? It's a bit of a weird one, because sometimes I definitely found myself like relapsing into old mindsets.
Oh,
of
like, course, because you've been doing it for like 20,
grow,
20 years.
grow.
Yeah.
But kind of like, again, and the patience thing, because I'm not perfect. Like you're growing, and it's like, it's getting kind of long, man. money is currency after all. Like it flows, so let me just just flow. It's just once for 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. Like, what do you guys think of what investment wise? So I guess that's that gap of like, if you're not just looking at it as you earn money and you spend money, and saving isn't the only like bust up in the middle. There's stuff like there are investment things. There are things, because I'm just dipping my toe into like this whole world, putting small bits in small places. And I'm very honest. Like I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Nobody does.
That's why I'm dipping. Like in the process of dipping my toe, that's where I'll learn.
Yeah.
But like what are your thoughts, and especially like cryptocurrency as well? That one saved me like a couple of weeks ago. And I didn't even expect it to be. I just checked and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, let me clear some of these debts then.
I said through that.
But again, like I went back 2 weeks ago and I shouldn't have withdrawn when I did. There are things I don't know right at this stage. I don't know if anyone has like more experience with that, or just investments in general. Like how is it treating you?
Hey, you've made it halfway through the episode, and just for doing that, we want to celebrate you. So we're going to give you an opportunity to get a discount code. Not 15%, no, it's going to be 30%. So what we're going to ask for you to do is type in HTGM on www.goodmanfactory.com, HTGM, and get yourself a 30% discount code for being such a loyal subscriber. Thank you.
I was going to say, I do a lot of reading and do a lot of research. First of all, to change my mindset about money, because we never had money when I was younger. My mum tried, but there was hardly any money, you know what I mean? But so in terms of investment now, after a lot of research, I realized that there's almost like a scale of risk. So when you're investing or putting money towards an asset for it to obviously grow, there's almost a scale. I wouldn't say from crypto to savings accounts, but that's literally, you can almost count it from 1 to 10. There's different things like REITs in between, and so like real estate investment trusts or something like that. Yeah. There's all these things in between. Obviously,
that's the most attractive thing to me right now.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know if you want to explain it, but basically,
REITs.
Yeah,
So,
REITs,
REITs.
REIT, yeah. And I only found that out less than a year ago. It's so mad. And I was thinking, so you can buy almost like a percentage of a property, basically.
So the way it was explained to me is that you buy a percentage of a property. If the property value goes up, your investment grows. If it doesn't, you receive dividends from the payment of rent for the people occupying the property, like over like set time period. So either way, you're gaining some type of money back. But the best thing you would want is for it to be like a lucrative property that the investment will grow and you're gaining rent, and the rent can go up at those increments. So that's why for me it's like it's a really interesting way to dip your toe into the whole like property and investment thing in the same time.
Literally. And I was gonna say, if you was the one that started the REIT kind of thing, apparently you have to give up 90% up for dividends or for shares. Okay. But if you're the single body that's literally you get to keep 10%, which is not bad, but everyone else gets the 90%. I still feel like you still gain, even if you're the one that owns the REIT, if that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, what I was saying about risk is savings accounts, you can put money into it, but as we all know nowadays, bro, there's like 0.01, 0.5%.
And inflation.
Just holding your money.
Inflation is always great,
It's just safer than a shoebox, basically. Like.
Basically. So you can do that. It's still a safe option, but you're literally, your 100 bags, for example, you put into that savings account, it's not going to be worth 100 bags when it gets to whatever it is in 10 years time kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they said the opposite end of the scale is almost like crypto, where you can make a hell of a lot of money in sometimes in a day. I've seen it done in a day or a week or a month or maybe a few months up to a year. Or you could literally lose all of that. You can go up from, I don't know, just for argument's sake, you put £10, it goes up to 40 bags, it goes back down to a pound. Is that it fluctuates too much? There's too much risk, but obviously no risk, no reward as well. But you just have to know how much you are willing to risk your money, and you put in what you are willing to lose, kind of thing. So I've dipped my toe into little things here and there. So the S&P 500, I've put I dipped my toe into like things like REITs. And again, I started off small and I had to change my mindset because I could have used a fiver on many different things. Yeah. But I put a fiver into a REIT. I was like, okay, I'm like investor Mike, you know. I wanted to go, Mum, you know what I done? I bought some real estate kind of thing. And I put another fiver or tenner into the S&P 500. Now I think the share price is like, the one that I do is like £66 a share kind of thing. But I bought 3 or 4 and I was like, yeah, wow.
That's me, yeah?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Hey, Apple,
and it's great.
I own you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Basically. So I just think, obviously, do your own research and how much you're willing to put in. But I can't even list, bro, the amount of things you can put or how many assets you can do or buy. Sorry, but it's just how I would. My word of advice would be put in what you're willing to lose sometimes, because if you put in a fiver, I'm willing to lose a fiver. If I put in a tenner, I still, you know what, a tenner to some people, even especially me, is a lot of money. I'm not. If I lose that tenner, I'll be pissed.
So would you say like investing is a bit like gambling, in a sense, because nobody knows if whatever company is really gonna do well. You can infer with news and stuff like that, but you don't know. Because that's
100%. No. I get it. It's not gambling per se, or maybe we're trying to change the word.
It's not horses or nothing, but
yeah, but
in a sense,
there's always risk because there's nothing is 100% or nothing's guaranteed. For example, because you see, there's always a dip or there's financial crashes and all the rest of it. But like you said, instead of it being like the guy's book that you read was up and down, broken and rich, and then broken and rich. Like the S&P 500 has been growing steady for the last how many decades? Warren Buffett put money into it. I read about that as well, and he made a bet against all the hedge fund managers, and he beat them. Just by putting money into the S&P 500 for, I think it was, I don't know how long the bet was for, and then he won, and they paid them $2 million.
Serious?
Why didn't I do that bet?
But you know, even you say that, why didn't I do that? Yeah, like right now, I feel like everyone seems to know about financial education, financial literacy, and it's like such an overload of education. Like the financial education industry itself is worth something. Like you could book, podcast, free on YouTube, courses. God knows how many ways you can learn about finances now. And I feel like, I'm not that old, but I feel like we didn't really have that when we was young. It was just like, all you had to do was just go to school and get a job. Whether it was the job based on what you went to school with, or it doesn't matter. Just get a job, get a house. Like this is the ultimate. Like get a job and go buy a house. This is the ultimate goal. And don't go buy a house to rent it. No, go buy a house to live, which is even another separate thing.
Yeah, your house is the
ultimate
symbol
in life. You've made it, Oga.
Yeah. Like the bigger the house, the bigger you've made it.
Honestly,
but that's the thing.
But even Rich Dad Poor Dad was saying that it's a liability until you fully own the thing, innit?
Until you make money from
tax
it.
Yeah. Once you pay off the house, you still pay tax,
which I don't understand. And then I didn't even realize until literally a year and a half ago that once you finish paying, or if you don't own the ground that the house is on, so if the house is not, is it a freehold?
Yeah.
You are still
they government still wants your life and soul.
Unless you can make your house hover, bro.
The government wants your soul, bro.
That's mad.
Simple.
That's why.
Unless you can make your house float, you still owe them.
That's why I find these conversations just so interesting. It's like, life is to be enjoyed. No, but it truly is, and I'm in between
shackles, boy.
Having to make money, save money, but also
enjoy life.
Life is short, and tomorrow isn't promised, and it's so easy to just get caught up in this rat race of, of trying to make money. I remember this teacher in college, and she was just talking about her life, and she was just like, well, next year she's gonna quit a job and just go live in some country and just chill. And I was like, what? No, like, you can't leave London and whatever. And to this day, only God knows where she is. But because we tell ourselves that, you know, she is, but because we've been telling ourselves to chase this financial dream, that our house has to be big, our car has to be good, our children have to be good, and all of that. We just get caught up in this rat race of trying to make so much money that when is it ever enough? But we could truly I tell people all the time, we don't have to live in London. We don't have to live here. We could live anywhere else.
Friends are here.
And have a. But you can have, there's FaceTime, there's technology. We can go anywhere and just have a cheaper cost of living.
She makes good jello fries.
Okay. Let's get away from them.
No, they have plantain. They have plantain in the woods.
But yeah, that's why I just find these conversations just so interesting. But you want to make money. It's still in you. It's in your veins. And it's like, do you remember Wolf of Wall Street when the guy goes up to what's the guy's name? To Leonardo DiCaprio. His character Jordan Belfort, and he's like, show me what you do. How did you get that car? Show me a paycheck and I'll quit my job. That's how I make my money. If you tell me that you flip something on this crypto, I will join it. I'll put money there. I'll put £100 there or whatever. If it works, it works. It's money that I'm willing to lose or whatever. But that's it. If someone else is doing it, just copy, and eventually, you know, you will make your money. And I remember I put
by the way, you know,
£30 in, what's it, Shiba or whatever you call it. Put £30 and it turned into £200. I said, hi, just from copying somebody. If only I put 30k, but you always have that. But I'm not. It's also understanding that there's patience versus greed. What is enough? And for me, it's like I'm not greedy, but I'm also trying not to be impatient. So you want to be patient enough, but you also don't want to be so greedy that you lose that money that you've made from an investment. That why are you losing it? Because you're trying to take, like, you speak to people and it's like, oh yeah, I've got, you know, £20,000 in my crypto wallet. Well, take it out. Nah, man. And then you ask them why. It's like, oh, fuck, like,
lend me 5 bills for rent though.
And it's, I'm broke.
That's my crypto.
But what's that in Social Network when he's like, what's bigger or better than $1 million? A billion. And that's the problem. A lot of, you know, it's like you got your 20k to do whatever you want. You invested 2k. Yeah. But you know, what's better than 20k, 50k, 100k, and you keep going. Speak to people and they tell you that they've had 100k in their wallet, and then, okay, what's in your wallet now? Why are you sweating? But that's just how. That's. It's also about having patience, but it's also not about being too greedy. You know.
And you say money's an emotional thing, then?
Yeah, of course.
Because it feels like it's like it's tied to your emotions. Like, it can make you angry, it can make you sad, it can make you greedy. You know. And all these kinds of things, like it's like how you feel about it. Like, how do you feel about this money? Some people, money is like a burden to them. Again, like in the beginning, you were saying that rich people, sometimes they want to just hang around regular people and act like, oh, I know about KFC chicken and chips. I'm not rich, even though they got like big mansion. Like, oh, just wear these normal clothes. And then there's some poorer people that are buying Versace and all this kind of stuff, and they don't really have the money like that.
Annoys me
you
so
know what
much.
I mean? And it's like that's like an emotion, isn't it? I want to the way I feel about it, and the way I feel I should use it, and the way I want to make other people feel about maybe who I am and how much money I have.
Everyone has an emotional attachment. I don't care what YouTube video you watch where he says, you know, don't put your emotions in it. It's like, sir, I could see the stress in your eyes of today that wasn't there yesterday because the crypto has gone down or Tesla has dropped. It's like, sir, you're allowed to be emotional. And I think once you try to act like you're not and you're a robot, that's when it becomes unrealistic. It's like, if my thing goes down and I check it, of course I'm going to sweat. But if it goes up, I'm going to be happy. You know, and sometimes that emotional attachment is again, it goes back to what I was trying to say, that we've been taught to love money, whether we like it or not. And it's like, we don't actually have to live in this capitalist structure. We can just go wherever we want. We don't have to try to impress everybody and leave London or these cities that are just robbing us.
Yeah, I think there's a thing around, because it's kind of connected to what you just said. There's a thing around money being associated with responsibility or being responsible. So it's like, if the more I have, the more evidence that I'm a responsible like person, adult man.
You got people telling people you should donate to this
Yeah,
charity. You
like,
should use your money for this.
listen to me
you should do
because
that.
I have this money to prove why you should listen to me. Almost, and I think there's a thing, I can't remember where I heard this, but there's a thing around responsibility prisons, especially for men, where because we attach ourselves to these ideas of this is what responsibility is. So we grind, and we get to this point where like, okay, cool, we've embodied these things, but now we have to keep engaging in these activities to maintain these things, and now we're trapped. And now you spend the rest of your life, especially a lot of men do this. You spend the rest of your life either maintaining those responsibility structures whilst designing escapes. And that's it. Like you're there grinding, making this money. And then the only other thing you do is plan holidays so you can get away from grinding and making the money so that you can then feel refreshed to come back and grind and make the money. And it's, once you've done that, you're trapped. And that brings me back the connection bit of like, yeah, there's a sliding scale between the patience, the greed, living your life, and being able to fund the life you would like to live, yes, but then
not at the expense of...
Yeah, not at the expense of your actual life. I mean, there's a thing that a lot of men fall into, and the sad part is by the time people realize that, oh, I'm trapped, it's like the weight of the trap is so heavy, you can't just pull the plug right now anyway. So now it's like, I'm trapped and I'm conscious that I'm engaging in my trap. And how am I going to get out of this without designing another trap? I think financially
designing another trap,
because from the mindset thing as well, like if your mindset is tilted towards looking at money in this way, you're gonna think, oh yeah, I'm building an escape. Subconsciously, you're building a smaller version of what you're leaving. Like, how do you like navigate that thing? So I think that's one thing that I've always, not always even, I heard this probably a couple of months ago, that I've started to think about in terms of like, yes, I want X, Y, and Z, but what is the most realistic, healthy approach to get these things? And yeah, like what is the most realistic, healthy approach? I can get it all right now by taking some very, very aggressive risks. What is that going to cost me? And again, for me, that goes back to status anxiety. Like, if you can't settle your status anxiety, you will make certain decisions that will lead you into these traps. But if you can, then you give yourself the space to do what you need to do to build that wealth, but also maintain that space to step back, like T's just said, of like, yeah, I like making money, but actually I want to enjoy my life as well. But you don't feel any type of way about behaving any type of way in front of any type of person because you're not, that anxiety isn't there to govern or to keep you in those traps. But like just observing friends, one of my best friend had a situation in lockdown, and like finances were involved in that, and watching him kind of go into like a not so great place. And luckily he's a very like strong-minded person, so he found that synergy of like, okay, this money is not my life anyway. And then life changed, and now he's gone, but he still held that thing of money's not my life anyway.
Doesn't define me.
And seeing that person compared to other people I see, where it's like, yeah, you're definitely trapped and you feel like you're winning, but you don't know how to stop this cycle. So it's easier for you to just celebrate the cycle.
What?
I think it's what we're saying, get trapped. Like, it's very easy to get trapped.
Very trapped.
Very easy. Like, if you have a job and maybe you don't really like your job too much, and like, okay, but I can't really quit my job because I got a kid, I got a car, I got a house, I got rent.
Have you ever quit a job before?
Me, yeah. Oh my god, I'm the best at quitting jobs.
No, but that's the point I'm trying to make. You can like
when I quit a job, I destroy it. Like I ain't going back.
If I tell you some of the stories of how I've left the company,
shut the door.
You will know that you can never tell me that you can never quit a job.
Oh, bro,
I've never done it myself.
Quit your job.
But that's it.
I've never done it myself.
Never quit a job.
Never quit a job, as in just gone F you.
Oh no, not like that. But
listen, there's still some jobs that I'm even gonna go back to. Once I've hit my financial goal, I'm gonna go back, work there for a week just to quit. Just just so they know.
When you say quit, you mean like just move to another job?
No, I'm talking. I can't do this anymore. It's stressing me out. I do not like it. My soul doesn't align with it.
No, when I say quit, I mean like when I was doing retail, I just didn't come in one day.
Yeah,
and then when I was working with the government and I was about to call an election, I was in a 2-hour meeting and I was calling an election. I just went downstairs straight to HR and said, hey, listen, I'm quitting right now. I'm gone. And I just collected my stuff and I went.
I don't know.
But I still didn't work with them after that.
Told you can't just quit because it's hard. That's what my mum always says. You have to keep going.
But luckily for me, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have no savings. I had a call after that meeting, I had a call and I got a client that was like half the salary of what I was getting. So what I needed in my head, I was like, I need to get just another couple clients and I'm there. So it was like, that, I was just lucky, to be honest. I was lucky. But I've been telling myself I was going to quit for time. And I was like, I think this was just it. I'm not going to do an election. I can't, because you'd be in there from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. And I can't do that no more.
I said election.
So for me, when I said I'm king of quitting, I was like, I will quit without a plan. I will quit without savings. I will quit without and just fly. Like, do you know what I mean?
I'm an extremist.
Yeah, bro. Like,
what was he even saying? Sorry,
I'm not taking none of it.
There's many roles where it's like, if it doesn't align with me, I can't allow you to control me because you're paying me, and I know money will come again. Like, if you've employed me in this job, somebody else will. It's down for me to do the work in order to get another job. You can never give me a job and make me feel fortunate that I'm in this job. I will get another job. And my mentality is...
I've quit in that sense.
Yeah, and my mentality is, if I need something and I can't afford it now, get more money, so I'm gone. I will leave that job if I feel like... I'll even be angry in the job. You've not done anything to me. I'll be like, I just saw a watch today I can't afford. That means you're not paying me enough. That means you do not like me, so I need to make more money. I'm gone. That's it. And I think that's the mentality.
That's the littlest thing. I watch that I want, you know.
Let me tell you,
I can't even upgrade my phone. What do you mean? Hey, what's this job? I'm quitting. I'm quitting.
And well quit. They'll know. But that's how I look at it. It's once you remove that emotional attachment in that
fear, right?
sense, you and the status anxiety. If you don't mind being without money for a little bit or dipping into your savings for a little bit, then you don't mind removing yourself from a situation that is ultimately, detrimental to you. So it's like same way with a business. It's you have people that work at companies and they've got a great business idea, but they're too afraid to take that leap of faith to leave that job that's affecting them to start that business. So it's like me.
One
thing I always say about jobs is you can always get a job. You can always get, like, even if you broke for a couple of months, you was doing your business or not really working out. The worst is, what's the worst? Like, as long as you ain't gonna get evicted or you ain't homeless or you ain't hungry, you can always get a job, man. Like, you could, like, if you're good at what you do, obviously, like, you could always get a job. Do you know what I mean? I think that's just one thing for me. Like, never be afraid to go and try and do something or leave the job if you're not unhappy, because you can really just get another one. Even if you don't have another job lined up, you can spend the next 2 weeks or the next 3 weeks hammering 100 jobs a week. Do you know what I mean? 100 jobs a day or whatever it is, and get another job. Like, no job, like you said, no job is ever that deep. Like, no job is ever that dire. Like, life is, like, go enjoy yourself, man. If you're not enjoying yourself, what's life about, bro?
I think that my anxiety was, if I wanted to leave this, I have to have a plan B. So I wasn't going to just leave my job and go to, I don't know, and just go, you know what? This manager's pissing me off because
maybe not that.
I can't go lunch because Gregory's on lunch at the same time. I can't go on holiday.
I'm done.
Literally, it gets you mad. Or you're in the toilet for 2 minutes and they'll be like, "You've been in there for half an hour." I can't.
Like at Amazon, bro. They'll fire you for that,
bro. It's mad. But
if you're in the toilet for that long, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing.
You've been long in the toilet for 20 seconds. Oh my!
It's mad. But yeah, I always had to. I thought, okay, because now this job is messing with my spirit, my soul. I need to get out of it. I need to come up with a plan B. But it was always, okay, I'm close to it. There's a few more days, or I've got the job now and I can't wait to hand in my notice. But it has to be, I have to hand in my notice. I can't just go, I can't do this no more, or I'm not just gonna come in. I needed something because the responsibilities I had with the lack of savings at the time as well. Bro, I couldn't imagine just going home one day and going like,
I ain't got it.
Yeah, mum. Like, obviously, I still expect you to still nice me with the jollof. I can't pay rent this month. She'll look at me like, you better. If I open my eyes and you're still sitting in that chair, I'll slap you into another job. So I had to.
At least I got a job.
You know what I mean? That Tesco, like, you got a club card.
But that's the thing. My mentality was almost like by any means necessary. So like literally, if I don't have that job, or if I don't have the plan B, it was. Or the plan B I wanted, it would be, okay, whatever's available to me, because I know I can still work my way up from somewhere. I never ever mind starting from like the ground level or from rock bottom and working, because the only way is up. Literally, that's my mentality. But yeah, at the same time, it can't just be, I'm going to leave this job and that's it, because there's nothing else to back me up.
So would you say due to responsibility and general life here? Because I know I found this out with myself. When you don't have money, you have money. Like sometimes we're like, right, I don't really have the money, but rent is due and the rent is getting paid. Like I feel like I've activated the X gene of that as I've gotten older. Like when I was, I just don't have the money. I don't have the money. And now when you're older, you can't really go and tell your girl or your son or your daughter or your mom if you're paying rent or whatever. I don't have. They're not going to accept it. It's not a possibility in your mind.
Why can't you tell them that you don't have the money?
No, because now you're when you're a kid, maybe you can get away with it, but maybe now you're older, you can't necessarily say you don't have the. I mean, maybe you don't have it today, but maybe I'll give it to you next week.
Let's say. So you're saying
responsibility prisons.
Yeah, so you can.
That's what I'm saying. Are you trapped by the responsibility of saying 100. Even though I don't have it, I have to have it?
Yeah, like at one point you don't have to, but I
will have it tomorrow.
I was definitely in that.
But I remember when I was young, I was like, I just don't have it. And I'm like, you ain't getting it because I ain't never gonna have it. I don't have it.
I think.
But now it's like, even if I don't have it, it's like, wait 3 days. Okay,
as in you will do whatever it takes to find it.
Even if you don't have it, you have it.
Nah,
kind of.
I can't live like that.
With that,
it's high stress. But go on.
With that quitting thing, I've done it twice. But I feel like I'm in the midpoint where I feel like I'll pull the cord, but I've also got some type of like divine thing overwatching me. I remember the first time I ever did it was tension at work. There was some racist things happening.
You had to go,
and it was just one day. I was coming home from work and I was like, I'm not going back. And got the train from Stratford, got to Newbury Park, came out. I got a phone call from the competing company, and they gave me a better job. The day I made the decision, I'm not going back on Monday. And they gave me that, and I was like, perfect. And the guy was like, come in, have a look around. Don't need to, because I've worked with him before. You don't need to do an interview, man. The job is yours. Just let me know when you want to start. I was like, I'm going on a trip with the family, blah, blah, blah. I was like, don't worry about when you come back. We'll have a look. Yeah, just let me know when you want to start. I was like, cool. I'm definitely quit. I'm meant to quit. It's written in the stars. I'm meant to quit. The second time was I just decided like I'm not happy. This is cool. It's a step up. I'm not happy here. I want to go. Maybe I want to go and study something. And I just told him. Did I even tell him? I think it was Christmas. We'd broken up for like Christmas break, and I knew I wasn't coming back. And I just sent out some applications to do a master's. Got a place, and I was like, yeah, that's me. I'm not going back.
See,
that's me.
I like those stories because I feel like because you just made a decision in your mind, like. Everything just moved out the way and just like because of your actual decision, like there's no fear. You're just like, I'm gonna do it. It's gonna figure it out. Do you know what I mean? And because you just decided that this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna like whatever it was like. I'm gonna put £5 in crypto. I'm gonna just leave this job. I'm gonna leave this job. Blah blah. Whatever it is you're gonna do. I think with money, it's like as long as you kind of make a decision that if I'm gonna go in this, if I lose, I lose. Maybe I'll go again. Maybe I won't. If I win, I win. Like I think if you just move forward, like there is no way of me losing. I'm only going to win, then you could probably win with money or any situation in your life.
Most of the time.
I think that's what status anxiety stops you from doing.
Thinking you can win, innit?
Thinking you can take a step that you could win from. You're so like it can make you feel so anxious.
Trust.
That it's like okay, I can put £5 in.
Do a new thing, yeah.
But what happens if I lose this £5? It could be your last £5, but you're so like, what happens if I lose this £5?
You've never done before.
Yeah, like what? How silly do I look?
Yeah,
you're gonna look silly in your life.
Silly to yourself.
Whether
people don't want to look silly to themselves,
to yourself, to other people, you're gonna look silly in life.
I'm so dumb. Why did I lose £5? Like,
you're gonna do dumb. There's nothing you can do about. There's nothing you can do.
You don't have to look dumb.
At least you're gonna be something you could win from.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of success stories. You look back and everybody has failed multiple times. And it's like that's all you have to do is just keep doing it. Eventually you're gonna win, and that's one thing I've realized in like my recent years, last year, up into this one, just keep going. Eventually you will get your W and that W will be like, wow.
It's all worth it.
That's it. And that's it. That's similar to what your dad said about you've got everything but patience. And sometimes it's just that resilience to continue and to know that eventually your W will come. And it's odd because when it's to get a job, we don't have that fear, if that makes sense. I can apply, go to my interviews. Eventually, I'm going to get that job. But with everything else, why don't we apply that the same way?
The job brings security because they're going to pay you.
But it's not really that secure though. Even like people are saying that, but you got a contract and blah. They can terminate that contract anytime. It's not your business. It's not your father's business either. They can get rid of you anytime. But there's a false sense of let's say, security every time you go to a job, because it allows you to do certain things that you couldn't do if you didn't have, I don't know, either money or you know what I mean. I just
hide in the back.
I don't feel like going in today, so I'm not. It does, but there's a false sense of security in terms of the finances or just having a job when you go to the job. It's not yours, really.
You guys ever? This is something one of my friends mentioned to me, and I never thought about this. They were like, "Have you ever thought about?" Like in your interview or once you've got the job and they're like, oh, is there anything you want to ask? Have you ever thought about adding a termination clause?
No.
To your contract of like,
nobody tells you to do these things.
I didn't know it was a thing you could do. But they said this to me and I was like, that's mad.
I don't even need that. So I will terminate
an example
anytime.
being like a football manager. If a football manager gets sacked in the middle of their contract, they are going to be paid the amount of money that's guaranteed to them
like
for that
if you try to cancel your phone bill.
Regardless of when you sack.
Pay.
So with jobs, apparently with some jobs, you can propose that if it's the type of job or if your skill set allows for that to be considered, then it might not be your whole salary. But if it's like you're meant to be paid X amount for a year and you get sacked in February, you would get paid what you're supposed to get paid up until July.
If you say that.
No, but then you could just get income insurance. But no,
that as well. Yeah,
I'm gonna do that.
That's one thing. I never knew it was a thing. I was like,
that's why these football managers, they'll do rubbish job.
Do you know what I was thinking? That's why
$5 million.
No, that's why certain people in the office, you'll see them, you'll be like, how comes he's not worried about his job like I am? Like,
people negotiate different.
He's doing certain things.
Trust me, people negotiate different for their job. You know, when you know. People go in and negotiate different for their job. I was working with the government and I was on a contract. They were like, "Oh, there's a position coming up, permanent. You should apply." I was like, "Oh yeah, cool. Since I'm here every day, I might as well." So I think I was making like 120 a day, and then they tried to pay me 26K. I said, "Let's do some maths, do some quick maths." And I think for 120 a day, that was like about 31,000 something like that. So I said the guy who was a good friend of mine who hired. So I've been working for like 2-3 years at that time, contracting. And I said, the equivalent of my yearly salary now is 31, but you want me to come up for 26, which after tax is something like 22 or something, whatever it is, right? And he was like, okay, all right, I didn't think about that. That makes sense. That would have made sense for you to accept this salary. This is like a super low ball, bruv. Like, it don't even make sense. So he said, cool, because it's you've been working with us and you've got bare experience doing political graphics and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to go back and see if I can get a higher salary. And he came back with a higher salary. It didn't match it, but it matched close. And he said, look, next year and a half or 2 years, it will be the same of what you got because it'll just go up. So I was like, cool, I'll take that. It was like 29 and a half. And I said, and then like a year and 2 years later, it was like 31. And I was like, cool, I'll accept it. But if you don't know.
Or you didn't ask.
Like, and I had a friend, he went to get a job and he told me he went in there and he negotiated his salary higher. And it's like, trust me, if you go in there and you act like, or you're scared, or you act like they, because they're gonna act like you need them more than they need you.
100%.
But you need to go in there and tell like, you need me. You're trying to hire me. You need me for your company.
You have to go.
I'm an asset to this company because I make you more money than you will pay me for my salary. Essentially, isn't it? That's why they're hiring you.
I'll make you rich.
They're not breaking even on your salary. So it's like you need to go in there and ask for what you want. Not even worth what you want. Yeah. Otherwise, they're just gonna lowball your ass and tell you to accept it, and then that's when you'll find out that Gregory gets more money for you for the same thing, and is less talented than you, and is lazy.
No, that's it.
And because he
works smarter and not harder.
He just had the bonus to say, "No, can I get the 55K?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay." Nobody just asks. That's why we don't give it to them. But if you ask,
that's such a real. I
swear to you,
I remember there was a job that they gave like a range that you could be paid in, and in my head I was thinking, I'm not qualified for this. Is a complete. I'm changing from what I actually do to this entirely new field. The initial offer was higher than what I thought I was gonna get, and I remember it was over the phone. The same last to say, I consciously acted like I was disappointed. I was like, I don't know about that. You know, like, is there anything we can do about this, that, like?
Because they need you.
And in my head, my heart was beat. This was the first time I've ever done this. My heart was beating. I was like, what if this guy just says, you know what, I've
got somebody else on the line.
And I was like, you know what? Let me see what I could do. Calls me back as an extra, like, I think 2.5-3 grand.
Yeah.
I was like, fantastic, great. Oh, I think we can work with that one.
I'll start tonight.
I think we can work with that one. I think that's okay.
You know,
but
the beauty. You're not gone.
That was the first time because in my head I've always had it in my head, but because I feel like I'm only just getting into a bit of maturity.
Yeah,
it was always kind of like you're paying me to do this stuff that someone like. cool, like money, yeah. But it gets to a point where you're like, actually, this means I can't do X, Y, and Z for my own projects. This means that the commute. This means this, that, the other. These are the things that need to be compensated for.
You're paying me for my time.
Exactly, for my life. Like I can't use my life for my own means during this time. So that should be reflected. And then taking that approach to it and understanding, like, even if they offer you something, they think that's a good deal for them. Even if it's higher than what you thought you were gonna get, they're looking at it as, this would be a good deal for us to get this type of person at this price. This type of person could cost us more, but if we can get him at this price, that's a good deal. Make them pay that more if they have it in their budget. Also, there's a bit of confidence you have to have in yourself of like, actually, you should pay me this extra 3, 4, 5, 10 grand.
When they're
if it
bold,
is.
mate.
But that's the beauty of when you have a team or someone who's dependent on your salary, like a manager or an agent or whatever, because they're getting paid. Let's say you get an offer and it's this said amount, they'll be like, oh, let's try and get more. And you'll be thinking, no, I'm good with that. But because they need to get paid as well, they will always fight. And then before you know it, they'll come back, they'll negotiate, come back with an offer. And you're like, damn, like, you're earning your keep. But it goes back to that. It's, if you're not confident, speak to somebody who is, and then, or someone within the same company or whatever, and they will always advise you what to do and how to make sure you're getting, you know, what you deserve, the bag. And that's it. Like, if I'm going to work for however long in those hours and I can't do whatever else, it needs to be worth it. Be it whatever the job is.
And I'm always talking about my dad, but that one's a shout out to my mum, because I told her the salary, the initial offer, and she was like, you can get more. Like, and that's what pushed me to be like, when I saw the email, I was like, oh, this is how much. She was like, you can get more. That's what pushed
someone
me.
that knows to tell you.
She fully looked at me. She was like, you can.
Otherwise, you would have accepted it, right?
Like I said, it was high. It was higher than I thought I was gonna get. So I was already like, let me start Monday. And she was like, you can, you know, just try, just ask. And that was a fantastic thing.
Even that low ball figure that they gave me, if I didn't have a missus and a son, I might have taken it, you know, because it was just me. 100%. But in my head, I was like, I'm not only here for me, because he was just born at these times. I was, I was contracting. I was like, I need to get a permanent job because I just need it. You know what I mean? Even though they were paying me, but I was like, when the contract ends, like, there's no guarantee of me getting another contract. So it's like, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have gone in there so confidently saying like, listen, I'm here now. You can have me for this price, or I got to go somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Because I wasn't the responsibility trap. You get what I mean? Trap. But yeah, let's talk about legacy and like passing down things to your kids and having assets that you can pass down and stuff. Like, obviously, I got a kid. T's got a kid. Mike's got a kid. You have a kid?
Nah,
I ain't got a kid. You sure?
He's got kids. Plural.
Kids. You sure?
None that I know of dates.
Cool,
Touch
cool.
wood.
So now, like, we're getting older. Do you know what I mean? We've got kids. Our kids are getting older. Eventually, we're not going to be here, you know. Hopefully that'll be in another 40 years. You're gonna be here forever. Bro, even Thanos died, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? So
that's
like,
the Nigerian in me. You know?
It's funny. Yeah,
like in terms of passing something down or leaving something, where that could be just cold hard cash, whether that could be a house, whether that could be crypto, whether it could be a company, whatever it is. Like, are we starting to think? Because I know I'm starting to think in that way now. Like what? Like, if I get taken out, like, what have I got? What's he got? Is it just a memory? Plan? Or is it life insurance? Do you know what I mean? And this is the thing about, like, finances and financial stuff. There is so many financial products. Like, it's just so mad. Like you were saying, the real estate investment funds, there's crypto, there's index funds, there's just house, there's just cold hard cash, there's bonds, there's...
Everything.
Literally. And it's like, you just really have to just kind of pick. Some people it's just house. Do you know what I mean? Some people it's the investment stock portfolio. Some people it's like, oh yeah, I inherited 250K from my granny. Or, she had a house that we sold the house and then we all split it and all these kinds of things. Do you know what I mean? And then you got some billionaires saying, I didn't even no money for my kids. This is my money. They're going to make their own money. I ain't leaving them nothing. Even like Warren Buffett, he didn't give his kids no money.
And wasn't a Microsoft guy?
Like Warren Buffett didn't give his kids money, but they got charities
that
he gives to them. He gives their money through them.
Jackie Chan.
No, but just to let you know that's a loophole. But
I mean,
I didn't know that. What do you mean?
It's a conversation for another day.
Okay. Oh gosh,
before people come out. What you saying?
Everything's a loophole, man.
Wait, let's talk about the loophole.
Because you've still got inheritance tax and stuff like that. So how do you bypass all of
those
this?
things?
Because how can they
like even
tax is nuts, you know?
The
something as
government
simple
wants
as
your
like
soul.
Fam.
something as simple as like when like a parent is getting on a bit and they've finished paying their mortgage, but then they can remortgage their house in like together with the child that's going to inherit it. So then it's not something you're inheriting, it's something that you own.
Yeah.
So then it's not being passed down when the parent leaves. So you have more of an ownership claim on that, and that can position you a lot better.
Even that's time sensitive. You have to do it. They're not allowed to pass within a time frame.
Yeah,
these guys are trifling, you know.
So there are things you can. There are things that you can do. There are things that there are ways to get around it. For me, I don't have any dependents. Do I? I don't feel like I have any dependents. So I haven't been. So I haven't been thinking about it too tough. If I'm absolutely honest, the only thing that I have in mind is like, what am I building? Like, I have a plan to get to a point where I have dependents. Like, what am I building? Why? And what's the longevity? I think that's the aspect of legacy that I'm looking at. Like the longevity of the plans I'm making now to allow for some type of legacy once that time comes. Because I feel like there's a thing around like a lot of my friends say this as well. Like they didn't really think like that until they had kids. And I'm trying to think of like, what am I gonna do now? Because I'm like, kids take up time, like the way, they take up so much of your time, so much of your focus. I don't, and there's a way I work. Like I need to be focused on certain things to really like get the outcome I want. So what can I focus on now, align now, and then just understand that like, that clock is already ticking in the background. So if anything happens, we're in so much of a good position. But even that, like I haven't figured all that out. Like the house stuff, I know that's gonna happen at some point. This is why I'm dipping my toes into investments and things like that now, because I know I can hand over portfolios. Even if there's like a tax element, how much can I accrue that even after tax they have like a useful amount? Yeah. So there's all these things, but that tax thing is like they want their fingers in every single pocket, every pot of money you have. It's like, give me some of that. Give me well done. But
and
also,
even if you don't want to what's it called, pay tax on inheritance, as in you just want to gift, let's say your children or grandkids,
there's a cap to it,
money.
The gift tax as well.
There's so you can give them a certain amount onto their go.
That's why you have your charities.
That's enough gifting. You have to not give me
us.
Oh, come on, man.
Like, why are you being so generous to your own kids? What's going on
What do
here?
you mean? Your offspring? God forbid.
Legacy has to be selfish, man. I feel like legacy has so many contributing factors and external factors that take away from it. It's like there's so many people that are just getting properties now or getting a property because their parents said it, and I want to make my parents happy rather than getting it for yourself. There's so many people that, you know, are working, have gone to, I don't know, university, got a doctorate or whatever it is, not for themselves. And the greatest legacies are, they have to be selfish. It's not for your children. That's why I understand when billionaires are like, I'm not leaving nothing behind and stuff like that, because that was my legacy. Find yours, you know. And like, if you've ever read Shoe Dog, the Jeff Knight, if that's even his name, Phil Knight, you know, I was like, if that's even his name.
I'm not the only one that made me say. I said SPF. It's been on my head since
sunscreen.
I said that. It's been on my head.
I was gonna say something, but I was like, it's not that type of podcast where we rinse people, man. It's all love here. Don't worry, Mike corrected you. It's all
that is funny.
Mr. Knight, Mr. Knight. He obviously he was a runner, but he knew he wasn't good enough to compete in the Olympics and stuff like that. So he thought, I'm going to make some running shoots. But everyone was like, get a job. Even when they were in debt and stuff like that, his parents were like, get a job. But because he knew his legacy, he, look at Nike today. And I remember there was just a bit in it where he just had a check and he was just giving out people checks. He was like, here you go, mum. Here you go, dad. Here you go, person who invested in you. And he was giving them crazy checks. And that's because he stayed on his selfish legacy. And I think that's what legacy is all about. It's selfish. It's not about your children or your parents. It's about what you want to leave behind and something that you're happy with. And I just don't believe that can be financial. I feel like finances might be a byproduct of it. You might create something that makes you wealthy, but when it can't be, it has to be whatever you align with. Similar to like purpose, isn't it?
I guess, yeah. So that's in line with my question of like, so if that's if legacy is something that's selfish, then how do you scale it? So in my head, I'm hearing that and I'm thinking, so there's no real like my legacy can be something that only 20 people know about. But for me, that's a substantial enough legacy, and then that's enough. I guess growing up, I've never looked at legacy like that. It's always kind of a thing of like, if it's to a small number of people, then those people are the kids you're passing it on to. But if it's like a generational legacy, then my mind opens up to that kind of idea of like, I'm striving for this thing. But then that's why the question comes into my head is like what is the scaling of that? Can it be something that like, I write a book, it's a really interesting read, and maybe 120 people read it, but it has a significant impact in their lives, and that's enough?
I think a lot of people don't achieve a legacy because their goal, and a lot of us, our goals is just to make more money, is to have a better life than we had. So if your legacy is, or if you feel innately to just write a book, then do it. And
that's
who knows?
of knowledge. That's
and
good,
then you're happy. But most people are just like, well, I just want to have a better life than I did yesterday. And you might make 1 million, 10 million, 20 million. Think about it like this. If I was to say, look, I've got 5 mil and gave everybody an equal amount, right? Including the camera guy. But let's say now, we've got 1 mil each. That wouldn't be a legacy. You've just got money. You've just got a better life.
I was about to ask you, so you don't think leaving money is a legacy?
No, because think about it. It's like if I gave you 1 mil now, is that your legacy? I'm now a millionaire. Like what happens next? Are you happy? You travel, you I don't know, buy this.
Legacy needs to pass down though, innit? So technically, you've passed something down.
Yeah, but you're not my child.
How do you know? I'm joking.
Black gum crack. But that's my point. Is it's handing somebody money isn't enough of a legacy. If I gave my child a business similar to what Dame Dash was talking, I don't want my child.
So you're saying something that they can actually do something with, right?
It's
like a machine.
It could just be knowledge.
Knowledge
our
is definitely a
parents
legacy.
have passed us down their legacy of knowledge from their experiences.
Some of it bad.
And a lot of it bad. But the point is that there's a wisdom that we've got from what they've been through, right? And that's their legacy. They might not have been able to, attain some of the stuff that they wanted, and they might have had to sacrifice quite a lot. But their legacy is what they've passed on to us. Yeah. Some of us have got an education. Some of us have have got properties or whatever it is that they pass down, life insurance, whatever. But again, ultimately, you're passing down something. But I don't believe it can be financial.
You know what? I've never thought of it in that way. Like I'll be very honest. I always thought it was financial. But you using that example of, okay, you're all my children. I give you money. I pass on. God forbid, not anytime soon. But
Nigerian.
You know what I mean? You have to say that way. But yeah, you give them money. Now you just got cash. But have you got what I have built in terms of my surname, and I'm passing
you
on
can't
to
tax knowledge.
That's the thing. I just feel like I didn't actually think of it like that. So that's an interesting way of thinking about it. And I was gonna say, even with like, I don't know if Instagram at the time was listening to me. But I was talking about life insurance, innit? Just saying it out loud, all of a sudden, and it's like I knew my age because I'm 31 now. Yeah. If you're turning 31 or 32 this year, you can get literally you only have to pay £5 for. So I thought that was part of almost like legacy or passing on something to my child or my future children. Because if I pass on at a certain age, he's going to get a certain amount of money, and my future children will also get a certain amount of money. But that's just that, like you said, it's just cash for having life insurance.
We didn't know what to do.
It covers the mortgage, for example, if I had a mortgage and all the rest of it. So yeah, it needs to be more than just finance. And I'm going to go home and reevaluate.
Statistic based on that, like most rich families, like the more generations the money trickles down to, the less money they actually have, because like you said, they've got money. They don't have a machine. They don't have a knowledge to keep generating that. Technically, life's getting easier with technology, and you should be able to generate more money, not less. But it seems like they're just spending it rather than, just living in the wealth rather than just actually like generating it. But
how many? Wait, sorry, but like how many people are just building other people's legacies?
Oh man,
just deep it. Like
I'm doing it right now.
You're making money.
It's a new podcast, bro.
No, but you're making so much money, but you're just building somebody else's legacies. There's so many people that do not have a legacy, but they just think they do. But all you spent your life doing is building somebody else's legacy. That's dead.
But if you wanted to do what's it called, put all your stuff in shares, you get paid your dividends, which covers all your expenses, and you just want to do enjoyment.
If that's your legacy, that's your legacy.
I'm gonna teach my son how to do that.
Everyone gets to decide.
Come on.
No, but it's not your legacy. All you have is just got a better life. That's a
It's
goal.
not really. Yeah,
But
it's not really.
you
But
ain't left nothing behind. But
boy,
I feel like we could end on what legacy would you want to leave behind?
Everyone just. I'm too young to be thinking like that, man.
I just want to go and enjoy it. I missed Libertine yesterday with the boys, man. I'm upset.
I think for me, it's ultimately leaving something behind that lets the world know I was here. You know, like where my child could be walking and be like, oh yeah, you know, that's my dad. Or even if I wasn't here tomorrow, it's leaving behind, whether it's just knowledge, whether it's my wisdom, whether it's my experiences, my memories, or businesses that I've created. That's what I believe my legacy is. And it's also helping people who grew up similar to us to have a better lifestyle as well. I think it's aligned with that, but then purpose and legacy tend to coexist anyway.
For me, it would be my legacy. Like it has to be a knowledge-based one, and it has to be help. I want to expand perspectives. Like that's it. Even if it's just with like a couple of people.
Let me put the
that's my main. That's my main thing of like that's what I want to leave behind. I want to leave behind structures for people to be able to change their mind and feel supported in exploring that change of mind in different ways. That's for me, like, and whatever form that takes, let's go find out what form that takes. But for me, that's the thing I feel like that should be left when I'm not here. And then that can create funds for my kids, but that's the thing I want to leave.
Without sounding like I'm just mirroring both of you, I'm basically saying the exact same thing, but I'm putting my surname on the end of it.
I've repainted it.
I signed the card as well.
Like I said when we was watching Wolf of Wall Street, whatever you did, I'm just going to copy. If it brings me peace or legacy, I'm good.
But honestly, even just this conversation has made me reevaluate what kind of legacy, I want to leave behind.
To think about,
yeah, so I'm definitely going to go back. It's not financial for me, as what I thought it was financial until this conversation. And it's definitely not financial. It needs to be something that I can leave even when I'm gone, that my child and other people, it can help other people, but it can help my generation, my son and our future children, so on and so forth. But yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, definitely. For me as well, I definitely think it's going to be knowledge. I already put loads of knowledge out on the internet already, so how much more am I going to, say to my own kids or my own family? So like, even like I only learned about finances, like learning properly from 27. If I can start teaching my son from 7,
that's how old
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm only 4 years in, and I'm learning more stuff than I've ever learned in my whole life. Do you know what I mean? So if I could give my son that knowledge from just 7, just simple things like, hey, remember that £10 that your auntie gave you? I won't be taking it, but this is what you should do with it. If you want to buy sweets, put the money over here. You could buy a bigger Hot Wheels cars, you could buy a bigger toy or whatever. These are just lessons that you can teach them without necessarily saying delayed gratification, which they don't know what that is. Do you know what I mean? But you can teach them certain principles and lessons in your own way. Because you can't tax.
Some kids do understand that.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Don't know why.
This guy on TikTok. He owns houses, and his son owns the laundromat and the vending machines in the basement. And he gets them to go and count up, refill it, and all of that. And he starts asking them, "Hey, look, if you put that in there, how much money do you make a week? $2,000." Da-da-da. This guy is 8 years old, making more money than I did when I was 20.
You know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean? Because his dad owns the houses, so he's educating him on how to do. So he can never be poor, because you can't tax knowledge. You can't take away knowledge from someone. As soon as someone knows how to do something, you can't unlearn how to ride a bike. You might forget me wobbly, but no, you can't unlearn how to once you know something in it. So I think one last question before we wrap up. So what one thing would you wish you would learn about finances like early on?
Wish that we had learned.
That you had learned, yeah.
Come back to me. I think for me it's just understanding that it's not the be and end all. And once you remove that, it's a lot easier to be patient. It's a lot easier to not be greedy. It's a lot easier to just have that discipline, because it's not everything.
I think I wouldn't change. I know we haven't said about changing anything, but I wouldn't change anything in terms of going through the hardship and the lack of funds to where I am now. Obviously doing
I would change it all.
But as in, it's taught me a lot of things, but I wish I'd just changed my mindset towards money earlier on in my life. So
Yeah.
in my early 20s, instead of waiting for my son to be born and then waiting to be in debt and all the rest of it. I wish I just had that. Like, I wish I was more proactive, basically. But yeah, I just feel like there's not that you have all the time in the world, but take your time, learn what you want to learn, and then obviously you can copy people as well. But yeah, just do what you need to do, and then start off small and work your way up. Basically, I would have told myself.
I think like echoing similar things, but if it was one specific thing, I wish I learned how to leverage debt a lot earlier. I think I wish I understood that rather than just being in debt, but understood like how do you leverage debt so your kids, you can't tax like debt, but understanding that and understanding what that can actually do for you in real terms, rather than just thinking like I want this thing, this income source allows me to do it, and then completely forgetting that actually no, you've added a liability when that thing could have been an asset that you use to acquire assets that then pays itself. Like something similar to what you were discussing. Yeah. So I think if I could have learned that
earlier,
like in my first years of being 20, I think it would have changed the landscape for me a lot. But yeah.
What we learn, we live and we learn, guys.
Just one more thing. This isn't financial advice.
Still learning the
personal.
stuff, right?
For me, it would have been what to do with money. You know, I used to be a big saver. I used to like get money, and I'll have like, if you give me £100, I'll have £100 for 5 weeks straight. Like I would not spend it. I would just drip it out slowly. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I knew what to do with money. I would just like keep it close to my chest because I just didn't want to feel like I had no money.
Yeah.
But if I knew like, I could buy this, and I used to buy and sell in secondary school, but maybe if I took that and started businesses earlier or invested or whatever these things are, you know, so many things you could do with money, I think that would be crucial to me. Like, you could have done this instead of just like sitting on it and looking at it, like, you know, just sitting on your equal. Like, you know, in the Bible, they have the talent, the guy that just sat on it. He didn't do nothing with it. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that was me, like if I just knew what to do with money. But yeah, man, that's me.
Shout out to all the playground hustlers as well.
Keep it up, man. Never give up.
All the cookies and drinks that you're selling, it pays off. It pays off.
All right, that's it for this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you to Goodman T, Goodman Michael, and Goodman Ade. Let us know what you think about money, man. We want to hear your money thoughts about anything we said in this conversation, man. We'll see you next time on the Goodman Factory podcast.
Inside.